good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Rihole Bitata from Steam Power, our social enterprise designed to break down barriers and to change narratives. Today we have Carmel Barracks, a mother and wife, an entrepreneur and homeschooler, and she'll be sharing a little bit of her story into homeschooling and how she actually gets on in life. Welcome, Carmel. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So, first of all,
Good.
thank you for accepting our invitation to be part of the change, to be part of the STEAM Power. And why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, so I qualified as a set designer, leaving education. I kind of branched off into energy efficiency. And then I was kind of doing my own projects, but I wanted to get a balance mostly with the children. I was doing a lot of reflecting with my own upbringings and kind of realizing where I was let down within the whole system and wanted to kind of change that within my children. So my main emphasis on myself was mostly just working, bringing in money rather than necessarily pursuing a career, but then putting all my efforts and resources into the children. I was able to homeschool them for quite a long time. Um, we did do part of the curriculum, but it was mostly working to their ability and their aptitude, and allowing me to identify their gifts and enhance that, so they can move on forwards. Um, After a while, the children did decide they wanted to go back to school, mostly because they said that the work I was giving them was too hard or challenging. But it did pay off actually in the end. So my son, who's currently 15 at the moment, he has just completed his first private GCSE. He completed that in computer science, his own study, and he's due to take maths extended in May, on top of his GCSEs that he'll be doing at school. Um, I felt just taking that responsibility for their education, I felt would give them more opportunities to go forwards. Yes, that's mostly for my son.
Okay, so but tell us back a little bit because for many parents that start homeschooling, sometimes it's a set of events that actually trigger that decision. Was it like for you? Was it a was it a decision that you made from the very beginning before your children were born, or was it that you had certain experiences within the educational system?
Um, with the children, I always felt that the system let me down. And I'm so sorry to say this, but I also felt that my parents let me down as well. And I was trying to pursue things, but I just didn't have the knowledge. Nobody around me had the knowledge. So as technology improved, I realized that a lot of doors were being opened with resources, with opportunities. And I suppose they kind of say with parenting, you want to give your child what you never had.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my motive for getting them to where they needed to be. With everything that I've achieved, there was a certain amount of struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got no help. So, you know, trying to make it easier where, they got that support academically, I felt that that would give them more of an edge for when they grew up.
Okay. So you were talking about a lack in your education when you were young. What was that lacking that you felt that, no, I don't want my children to go through that or to experience that again? What is it that you missed?
Um, I think how I see education, there's three parts. It's what the school puts in, it's what the parents put in, and it's what you yourself put in. I felt I put in as much as I possibly could. in trying to steer my education, but the support wasn't there from the school and the support wasn't there from my parents. So I felt that, that just made the journey more difficult for me. I was, through my determination and passion, I was able to get into a really good college and I got into a really good uni. But I just felt that if I had that support from those external sources, what I had achieved would only be, amplified if I had that initial support.
Excellent, excellent. So how was it like in your early days as a homeschooler? Do you have the support of a network of other homeschoolers, or were you on your own?
No, on my own, Unfortunately, I've just found in my life, I haven't had family support at all. When I say I've literally just been doing it all by myself. I did at a certain point try to mix in with the homeschooling, but I just felt that they were just on a different agenda. They probably just couldn't relate in terms of what I was trying to do with the children. So I just had a solid routine in place, where we were able to go out, join clubs, so it was keeping the children active, and just kept me busy with that schedule, and just allowing them to do things.
Okay. So in terms of like everyday homeschooling, what resources did you find available, or did you have to create your own resources and let's say curriculum?
I did stick mostly to the school curriculum, just making sure that we were filling in the gaps that the education had missed. I didn't really go off and introduce anything else. It was more identifying the children's strengths and abilities and just really focusing on what they needed. So the emphasis was mostly on the maths, the English, and then to get that balance of physical activity. So just going out and keeping them physically active.
So being a homeschooler, and I know that Black history is a big thing. Well, it has to be if you are a Black parent. I think
Yes.
there's no way around it. So what kind of so you said that you didn't get much support, but was there any organization or resources that made that side of your teaching any easier? Because I found myself at the very beginning, before you had certain organizations where you had to create much of the resources from scratch, or you had to do a lot of research before being able to teach it. Was that the case for you, or do you have, or do you buy the resources actually?
With the resources, I invested into a lot of books, online resources, your typical educational ones, and then I was also able to invest in external organizations as well to deliver like the maths program. With myself, because I didn't specialize in maths, I've always had that belief as just because I can't deliver something, it doesn't mean I can't support that. And I know that homeschooling, is very daunting to a lot of people, and they feel that if they're not qualified or they don't have certain experiences, they might not be able to deliver. But I suppose my best answer or best quote to that is, everyone knows that Usain Bolt is the fastest runner in the world.
So far.
so far, it definitely can be beaten. Unfortunately, not that many people know who his coach is. Now, we know that his coach personally has not got a world record
Yeah.
as being the fastest runner. However, he had the ability to get Usain Bolt to where he needs to be. And that's my role. People don't know what I'm doing, but I have the ability to get my children to where they need to be, to start performing.
Okay. So what made them go and say to you, "Hi, mom, I want to go back to mainstream"? What was it? Was it the social, having like getting around with other people more, or what was it that say, I want to go back, especially
Yeah.
for the for the
Um,
yeah, for your
I
15-year-old?
thought, yeah, I thought my son would want to be more homeschooled because he's more of an introvert. He wasn't too fussed about the social aspect. And being in Cambridge, you know, it wasn't as how do I put this?
Diverse
It's yeah, I was gonna say it's not diverse. So he knew that he would, be going to those
spaces and the
schools.
standard.
Yeah. So he kind of knew that. But he already knew that because for his primary, we lived in Richmond, and again it wasn't diverse. And a lot of people
Women in London.
in London,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. A lot of people don't realise is that there's a lot of places in London that are actually not even diverse whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
in
Richmond is
his
one.
yeah,
Barn,
Richmond's the one. Yeah,
Barn is
he
the one. Yeah, it plays like whoa. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's no diversity. So us moving to Cambridge, wasn't actually no different in terms of the diverse. If anything, Cambridge was actually a little bit more diverse than back in London. But definitely, I think he missed that social interaction, even though he was doing clubs and all the rest of it. I do believe that he wanted to just get back into the classroom, and the work, as I said, the work that I was setting him, um, he knew that he had to do it. And I just felt that when
Mm.
he was in that school environment.
Hang on a second. Sorry, wait, hang on a minute. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, I think that when he was in that school environment, he felt that he could just relax a little bit. So I did say to him, he can go back to school, but if I felt that he was going to be failing or his grades were going to be dropping, then he would have to be homeschooled again. And his grades haven't dropped. He refused to let them. But he's found that happy balance where he can be in an environment where he is happy, he can produce. So he really has had the best of both worlds.
And what about your daughter?
My daughter, yeah, she's an extrovert. And I think it's really important to really understand your children. And with extroverted children, they need the social aspect. They feed off of other people. She can do work, but it is very much just being surrounded with a lot of people. So of because there's 8.5 years between them, I was able to reflect on the experiences that I had with my son, as I call him, the practice child. And I was able to kind of implement a better a strategy and routine for her going forwards. So she literally went into school running. She was reading chapter books by the time she was 5. Producing. We've recently actually applied to a private school and she got in.
Oh wow.
So she'll be starting that September. So she's happy that she's performing. Yeah, and I've definitely realised that like building up the children's confidence as well, that's a big, massive part in the whole process.
What would you say to parents that are not sure about the homeschooling journey? Because your one is a bit different. Many parents actually do it throughout, and then when the child is ready for university, that's when kind of they release. So what would you say to parents that are halfway?
Yeah, I think I could probably relate to that because yeah, I'm trying to get that balance of being able to work, being able to support, being able to monitor the children. One thing I would say to all parents: do not give the full responsibility over to the education system at all. Even if you don't get involved in your child's education in terms of giving them additional work, be involved in the process and know exactly what they're doing. Because my belief is that if anything happens in the world, you don't want to be stranded. And it just so happens we had a pandemic. So I knew exactly where the children were, what they were capable of, where I could build from. But as I said, going back to the whole, your own insecurities and you're doubting yourself, because I've come to realize we have to address what's going on internally. And I, what my son can do with maths is phenomenal. What my daughter can do is phenomenal, and much more than what I can do. But that's the issue's not with them, it's more with me. I can't let my own insecurities go, well, look, I can't do this, they can't do it. No. You've got to identify and push them when they're talking to you and you don't even know what they're talking about. Doesn't matter, as long as you're engaged and okay, that's great, and just encourage them. And if you can't deliver something, then again you can find somebody that can deliver it for them.
Of course.
There are ways ways going forward, but definitely, if I'll just say, just try and get involved with what they're doing. And just see if you can offer that support going forwards, but don't leave them be. And again, with teachers, I mean, from my personal experience, I very, very rarely trust any teacher, and that's not, it's nothing personal against teachers. But teachers have to
no
prove
offense
to
taken.
no, nothing to teach. Teachers have to prove to me that they're qualified to teach my children. And out of all the teachers I've met, I've got about 2 or 3 that I can say, I trust you with my child's education. But I've had teachers who have tried to set my children up. And I've been able to identify that straight away and just nip it in the bud. I've had, I had a maths teacher turn around to me for my son and say that he couldn't read his writing. Now, at no stage had any teacher said that. If it was an English teacher, I would have paid attention. But because it was a maths teacher, anyway, so when we was in this parents' consultation, I actually turned around and said, "Oh, I have the book. I have his book. Show me where you can't read his writing." And no word of a lie, he flicked through the pages, and then he went, "There, I can't read that bit of right." So straight away,
Gosh.
Dealing with this system, before, you can smile at me and you can laugh with me, but it doesn't mean that you truly have my child's best interest when it comes to education. And I will say, for my daughter, there was one teacher who, she was absolutely phenomenal. She was Caucasian, and when we were looking around the classroom, on the board, all the children had examples of their work. So I was able to look at my daughters and I was able to look at the other children. In her class, there is only 5 black kids and 4 girls, 1 boy. And out of all the work, there was 3 kids who had produced 2 pieces of like paper work written. So I wanted to see who that was. And all 3 kids, one was my daughter and the other 2 were 2 black girls who had produced 2 sheets of work. And I said, I thought, you know what? I love this woman because she's not she's pushing a child to their full ability. And she's not discriminating, because I know some teachers wouldn't allow that to happen. They wouldn't have the top children being black in their class whatsoever. They, yeah. So for me to see that showed me that she wasn't, yeah, she was teaching. So that was that example of her.
Okay. All right. So any last words?
Mm. Yeah, I think my last words would be just, you just got to stay strong, believe in yourself, and it's not easy. I'm never going to say it's easy. There's always going to be challenges one way or another, but you just have to just keep on pursuing, and don't be afraid to change things, because even though I have a set idea of, right, this is how it's all going to pan out, something happens with the children, or so you have to be flexible. You have to adapt your learning style to always constantly meet around your children. And yes, it is, it's nice for them to be achieving academically, but you've also got the well-being side of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Carmel. So this was Carmel Barracks, and a mother, entrepreneur, and a wife, and a homeschooler. So thank you very much. And I hope that you, if you are listening to this, you actually take action in regards to your child's education and being more involved. I think is a key thing, not allowing the system to do everything for your child. By the way, it's impossible. And that's not, that's not their purpose in that respect. So thank you very much for listening.